You know, there's a lot of movies with endings out there that are either good or bad, obviously. And today I'm going to be taking a look at 10 shocking endings that I felt were awesome, that I love, that are cool. And let's begin. Firstly, though, this video will contain major spoilers for each film discussed. So let's dive right into it. Here are the honorable mentions. Number 5 in the honorable mention department is Orca the Killer Whale. Now, this movie, you can either be on the whale side or the hunter side, but in the end, you still are invested in the story, and even the character of the hunter who killed the whale's family has some qualities to him that you either like or dislike, but you cannot deny the backstory he has is sad as well. That's why you have sympathy for his character. And it's all the more disheartening when he dies and the whale doesn't, as opposed to the book where I believe they both live. I'm just trying to scare you, man. Number 4 in the honorable mentions is The Descent. In this movie, you feel the release. She is free of this cave that holds these creatures down in its depths. And what happens? She wakes up, and realizes she is not out of the cave yet. She is still stuck down there. But she's in her own little world. And if she were to die, she could die in peace. It's a really powerful ending. The third honorable mention is Abominable. Now, the ending to this film is awesome all in itself. How they kill the Yeti and how they escape. But then there's a twist. They're going to search the accident that happened up at the cabins, and a growl is heard. And the people who are investigating, the rangers and cops or whatever, turn around and see a whole bunch of yellow eyes staring at them. There was more than one all along. Number 2 is Zombie or Zombie. I love this ending because it doesn't have a sequel that picks up from where it ended. It's ambiguous. You do not know what happens after the end of this movie, and it's just a gut punch. You don't know if civilization thrives and kills all the zombies, or if the zombies take over the world. And that shot with them walking down the bridge is iconic. Number 1 in the honorable mentions is The Beyond. Now, The Beyond has a dark ending. It's a very confusing movie. It's geography-wise, it's all over the place. You go to a hospital, you end up at the hotel, and it's like, what the hell's going on? And then the two characters that you've been following this whole movie with enter this painting that has been shown throughout the film. And it's literally hell. And their eyes turn white because they have seen the beyond. Now with those 5 honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the 10 shocking endings that I love. Now these are in no particular order. None of these were. It's not a top 5 or top 10. It's just 10 that I love, or 5 that are honorable mentions. So let's begin. Number 10 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This ending, it's a slap to the face. He tries so hard to save all the children of the world. He gets one channel turned off, which is amazing in and of itself. And the next channel, the channel up, all the kids turn to that channel. He's telling the operator, please turn it off. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it! It's powerful because you do not know what happens. Do they actually turn off the channel in time, or are all the kids in the world who wore those masks and watched that commercial dead? Number 9, Piranha. Now, in 1978, it was Jaws everywhere. Rip-offs galore. Throughout the movie, you are on the edge, like, are they going to get out to the sea and attack the world, or are they going to be able to confine them? And it looks like they do. There's this false sense of hope that they contained them and killed them all, but they didn't. And they made their way out to the sea. And there's that shot with Barbara Steele going, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore. And then it cuts to the ocean and the screen turns red. Awesome ending. Number 8 is Alligator. Now, I love this ending for a few reasons. One, the way they kill the alligator is just, it's awesome. They blow it up with bombs. There's the scene before the end credits where they cover the manhole and it gets all dark. They scroll around in the sewers, showing off what the dark, damp area looks like, and then you get to a drain. And like how the movie began, another alligator has been flushed down the toilet and lands in the sewers. Now, I love this ending because it's such a common thing back then. You can't imagine how many alligators were flushed down the toilet. It could be hundreds more after this. It could never end. Number 7 is the Blair Witch Project. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the Blair Witch Project. I do enjoy the lore and the story behind it, but the first film, it's just kind of annoying. But the ending got people talking. Even though you don't see the witch at all, it still left you with that, oh my god, what just happened, and what does it all mean? And people, after the movie, went to go research whatever they could about this movie. And that's the power of the Blair Witch Project after it was released. Number 6 is It's Alive. Now, this is a sad movie for me. I mean, you follow this family, and the whole time they're trying to either decide whether they should have their child killed or not because it's a monstrosity. And then the ultimate decision comes when the father is cornered and he has no choice but to have his child killed. But then the parents get in the car, and the lieutenant turns around and looks at them and says, "There was another one born in Seattle." And then it just ends. That is terrifying, because it was possible the whole time that there could have been more of these occurrences, but they weren't hinted at. And then the last line of the movie is that, and it's just so powerful. Number 5 is Hatchet 2. I love the ending to Hatchet. I love the ending to Hatchet 3 and to Victor Crowley, but Hatchet 2, that's what got people all excited for the next installment. You think you can't kill Victor Crowley any more than this. He's been smashed in the face with his own hatchet, blown apart with shotgun blast after shotgun blast, and before he can even get back up, he's shot in the face and it cuts to black. And of course you know he's not dead. And that's explained in Hatchet 3. But it's an awesome kick-butt ending. Number 4 is Insidious. Now, I thought Insidious was terrifying when I first saw it, but after a while I realized it wasn't as scary as like The Conjuring per se, which was directed by the same guy, James Wan. The last few minutes of Insidious are genuinely haunting. The mother goes to investigate a noise she heard upstairs, and she finds the psychic Elise dead in a chair. And then it cuts to a flashback of what transpired. And Elise had taken a picture of the father, who is now possessed by a demon. And then it charges at her, and then it cuts back, and then the husband's hand lands on the wife's shoulder. And he says, "Honey?" And then she turns around, and then it just ends. That left room for a sequel, which was followed up upon. And I love that ending. It's cheesy, but I love it. Number 3 is The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. This is an old 1970 giallo film from director Dario Argento. I gave up halfway through the climax. I was like, who the hell is the killer in this movie? And you watch the whole thing, and you still don't realize until it comes to the reveal. And then you're like, oh, no way. See, in the opening scene, this guy, a writer, goes across the street to help a woman who's being attacked by a masked killer. And he gets away. She's been stabbed in the stomach. And the investigation ensues. And that's at the end of the movie. It's revealed that the attacker wasn't actually trying to attack her. He was trying to defend himself from her. So it was actually the woman who was the killer. That is brilliant. I love that. Number 2 is Drag Me to Hell. Now, I loved the whole movie. It was bonkers, insane. I was like, this is going to end on a cheerfully cheesy moment. And then it got dark. The character we've been following along the whole time realizes that she didn't give the gypsy the coin back. She gave her a button from her boyfriend that got mixed up in the envelopes. And then he's like, oh, I think you have my quarter or whatever. And she holds the button up, and you realize she is screwed. And she backs up, falls onto the train tracks, and then hands from hell start bursting out, and they drag her right down to hell. And it's quite the effects-heavy scene, and it's just The look on Justin Long's face, you feel like maybe he should have listened more than he did. And number 1 is Final Destination 5. I saw this in theaters, and I didn't know it was a prequel until the ending, obviously. And when it happened, I remember screaming out loud, It's a prequel! I can't believe it!" And everyone's like, "Shut up!" And I'm like, I just watched it in awe. And I watched as our 2 characters that I grew attached to throughout the movie were slaughtered. And that wasn't it. That wasn't the end. That wasn't the final twist. The final twist is when they realize throughout the movie that if you kill someone, you get their life. So one of the guys kills someone, and he gets his life. But the guy he killed had only a few days left to live because he had a brain tumor or hemorrhage or whatever. And then the piece of a plane comes and crashes on top of him from the same plane that the 2 characters that I was attached to got blown up in, that it connects to the first movie. It's like, here's an amazing twist, and here's a shocking revelation on top of it. That's how you do it. I was laughing in horror, which is something I rarely do in horror movies, and I think it's actually one of my favorite endings. I actually watched these with a friend one time, Obscure Media, and I didn't tell him it was a prequel. He didn't know. We watched all of them. When we got to the final one, he's like, "What?" So that's it for this list. I'm going to be doing 10 movies that have shocking endings that I hate next. Thank you all for watching. I am Brian Gatto, the Horror Show host. Make sure to like, share, and comment on this video, and hit that notification bell to be updated every time a new video of mine is uploaded, and to like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon. Links to those 2 sites are in the description below, and to leave comments and subscribe.